The supermarket parking lot buzzed with routine. Shopping carts clattered, engines idled, and people moved about their day, absorbed in errands and appointments. No one paid much attention to the man sitting quietly near the edge of the lot. Ragged clothes, sunken eyes, holding a torn cardboard sign with just 4 words, "Help me and my friend." Next to him lay a dog, mutt-like with patchy fur and eyes too soulful for its size. It rested against the man's leg, as if guarding him from a world that had long turned its back on them. But what should have been just another overlooked moment in a sea of indifference was about to take a dark, unforgettable turn. The distant growl of a motorcycle shattered the monotony. Heads turned. The machine roared into the lot like thunder, and behind it, a man radiating chaos. He revved the engine twice before slamming on the brakes just feet away from the man and his dog. The engine hissed as the biker swung off, pulling off his helmet with a sneer. "Biker, what's this? Street trash and his mutt putting on a show?" People slowed, glanced over, then looked away. No one moved. No one intervened. The biker stepped closer, his boots thudding with intention. "Biker, bet that dog's worth more than you are, old man." He raised his leg and kicked. The dog yelped. The man cried out. Time froze. But what neither the biker nor the crowd knew was that someone had been watching from just a few yards away. Someone dressed in black, standing silently near the parked cars. He stepped forward, calm, steady, familiar. A face the world knew, but the biker did not recognize. Keanu Reeves had just witnessed everything, and what happened next would change everything. The yelp of the dog still echoed in the air like a slap. No one was brave enough to acknowledge. The homeless man clutched his companion, shielding him with trembling arms as the biker towered over them, grinning. "Biker, should have stayed out of my way, mutt. Next time I won't go so easy." The dog whimpered, its body curled tightly into its owner's side. The man didn't speak. His lips trembled, eyes glistening. But he remained silent, as if years of being ignored had trained him not to expect mercy. Shoppers stared, then turned away. A woman pushed her child behind her. A man muttered something under his breath and walked faster to his car. No one stepped in. Not yet. "Biker, this ain't your territory, old man. You squat here like it's yours. People like you just rot the place." The man looked up, voice barely above a whisper. "Homeless man, please." He didn't do anything. "Biker, neither did you, that's the problem." He laughed, loud, mocking, before nudging the sign on the ground with his boot, flipping it face down like it was garbage. The cardboard fluttered in the breeze. "Biker, help me and my friend? Pathetic, you want help? Get a job. Oh wait, no one would hire trash." The homeless man lowered his head again. His silence wasn't submission, it was survival. Years of judgment had taught him how to disappear in plain sight. Only this time, someone hadn't looked away. Near a row of shopping carts, still half shrouded by shadow, Keanu Reeves watched. His posture was still, his expression unreadable. But his eyes, dark and focused, hadn't left the scene once. A few feet from him, a young store clerk had paused, phone halfway raised, unsure whether to record or stay silent. "Store clerk, is that Keanu Reeves?" Keanu didn't move. Not yet. The moment hadn't come, but it was coming. And when it did, justice wouldn't arrive loudly. It would walk forward, quietly, just like Keanu always does. The air in the parking lot turned dense, as if the ground itself could feel the weight of what was happening. The biker wasn't finished, not by a long shot. He crouched down just inches from the trembling dog, a cruel grin stretching across his weathered face. "Biker, what's the matter? Your little pet shaking now? Didn't think I'd follow through. Huh?" The homeless man pulled the dog closer, holding it against his chest like a shield made of love and desperation. "Homeless man, please, don't. He didn't hurt anyone." "Biker, oh, but I'm not just talking to the dog anymore." With a sudden movement, He knocked over the man's small tin can of coins. The few pennies and dimes clattered across the pavement, rolling beneath nearby cars. Biker, oops. Looks like your fortune just ran out. A few people gasped. Still, no one stepped in. Keanu's gaze didn't shift. His breathing was steady, but his jaw tensed. This wasn't just cruelty. It was domination. A public performance of power. The biker stood again, now pacing in a slow circle around the man and his dog. Biker, you know what really pisses me off? Seeing trash like you just laying around like this is your front porch. You think this is normal? It ain't. You and your flea bag belong behind a dumpster, not in the middle of people trying to live decent lives. The man flinched at the words. His dog let out a low, defensive growl. Biker, oh, he's got some fight in him now? What's he gonna do, lick me to death? He raised his foot again, this time slower, like he was daring anyone to stop him. A father shielding his daughter whispered, Father, is no one going to say something? The crowd's silence was deafening, but someone had already decided to speak. He just hadn't moved yet. Keanu took one step forward, his boots soft against the pavement. His hand clenched at his side, not in anger, but in restraint. The moment of reckoning was drawing near, and it was going to begin with a single word. The crowd in the parking lot seemed to hold its breath as the biker pressed his advantage. He stood over the homeless man and his dog, radiating a twisted satisfaction at their misery. The man's head hung low, one hand clutching his trembling companion, the other holding what was left of his dignity. Biker, look at you. Begging out, here dragging this filthy dog around hoping someone will feel sorry for you. You're nothing but a stain on this place. He looked around at the onlookers, inviting them to join in the ridicule. Biker. Go on, everyone. Take a good look. This is what happens when you give up on life. Pathetic, right? A few people averted their eyes. Some shook their heads. Others stared, caught between discomfort and curiosity. The store clerk who had noticed Keanu earlier hesitated, phone in hand, unsure whether to record or intervene. The biker leaned in closer, his voice low and venomous. Biker. Maybe I ought to call animal control, get this mutt taken away. Maybe then you'll know what it feels like to lose the only thing that cares if you live or die. The homeless man's face crumpled. For a moment, it looked like he might cry, but instead, he tightened, his grip on the dog refusing to let go. Homeless man, please, just leave us alone. The biker straightened up, a cruel grin spreading across his face. He glanced at the people watching and let out a harsh laugh. Biker, nobody's gonna help you. Nobody cares. You're all alone, old man. Always have been. Always will be. A wave of humiliation washed over the homeless man. The crowd's silence was as sharp as any insult. His hope flickered on the verge of being extinguished. For the first time, Keanu Reeves stepped fully into the light, his presence unmistakable. But for now, he said nothing. He simply watched, eyes burning with empathy and a resolve that no one else seemed to possess. The biker felt invincible. He believed he'd won, but he had no idea just how quickly the world could change. The biker turned his back to the man and the dog, spreading his arms wide as if inviting applause for his cruelty. The crowd remained silent, frozen, uncertain, ashamed. He didn't notice the quiet shift happening just a few feet away. Keanu Reeves stepped forward, leaving the shadows behind. His pace was calm, his expression unreadable, but his presence undeniable. The biker paused mid-laugh, glancing sideways as footsteps approached. He squinted against the sunlight, confusion flashing across his face. Biker. You lost, buddy? No answer. Keanu stopped just a few feet away. His hands rested at his sides. He looked directly at the biker, then at the man still crouched beside his dog, cradling him with everything he had left. Keanu Reeves. Do you think this is right? The biker raised an eyebrow, still not recognizing him. Biker. What? Keanu Reeves. Hurting, someone who can't fight back. Making a show out of their pain, you think that makes you stronger? The biker chuckled, puffing up his chest. "Biker, who even are you? Some parking lot preacher? Go back to wherever you came from, man. This isn't your fight." Behind him, a few voices started murmuring. One woman gasped, pulling out her phone. A teen whispered to his father. "Teen Dad, that's Keanu Reeves." The name spread like a spark across dry grass. Eyes widened. Phones were raised. The energy in the parking lot shifted as reality began to set in. The biker scoffed. "Biker Keanu Reeves?" "Yeah, right." Keanu didn't flinch. He just took a step closer. "Keanu Reeves. This isn't about who I am. It's about who you're choosing to be." The crowd's attention had fully turned. Where once they'd looked away in silence, they now watched with growing intensity. The man they had ignored, now defended by someone they admired. The biker looked around, suddenly aware of the stares, the recording phones, the judgment closing in. His smirk faded. The balance had shifted, and the reckoning had only just begun. The biker stood frozen, caught between disbelief and irritation as Keanu Reeves calmly held his ground. He looked around again and saw that the crowd was no longer indifferent. They were watching, recording, whispering. His casual cruelty was now on full display. "Biker, so what, you're gonna lecture me now? What gives you the right?" Keanu Reeves. "I don't need a right, I just know wrong when I see it." The biker scoffed, stepping forward, trying to close the space between them, an attempt to re-establish dominance. "Biker, you think you're better than me just because you've been in some movies?" Keanu Reeves, "No. I think kindness makes someone better. Not fame. Not fear. Certainly not whatever this is." He gestured subtly to the overturned sign, the spilled coins, the trembling dog still clinging to his owner. His voice remained calm. "No anger, just clarity." The biker sneered, but it lacked the venom from before. His confidence was beginning to crack. He turned to the crowd, trying to rally someone to his side. "Biker, this guy's just here for a show. Don't buy into this act. He doesn't know what it's like to live rough. He's got no clue what people like me go through." Keanu didn't respond with insults or explanations. He simply stepped aside and nodded toward the homeless man and his dog, Keanu Reeves. But they do, and they didn't choose to hurt anyone. The biker's mouth opened, but no words came. The crowd was shifting too. Someone stepped forward and picked up the scattered coins. Another crouched down to offer a bottle of water to the homeless man. Compassion was catching fire, and the biker could feel the tide slipping from his hands. Still, he wasn't done. He clenched his jaw and took a deep breath, puffing out his chest one last time. "Biker, you don't know anything about me." Keanu Reeves. "Then tell me, but don't take it out on them." The biker said nothing, but the balance had shifted. For the first time, he didn't feel powerful. He felt exposed. The biker's fists clenched at his sides, his breathing heavier now. He looked at Keanu with narrowed eyes, the swagger fading into something more raw. Rage or fear? Maybe both. "Biker, you think standing there in your nice clothes and soft voice makes you right?" Keanu Reeves. "No, but it's better than using pain to feel powerful." The biker looked around. The phones were still recording. Faces were staring, not with sympathy for him, but judgment, disbelief, disgust. He wasn't the center of dominance anymore. He was the spectacle. "Biker, you think I care about these people? They've never helped me. They've never looked at me twice. You don't know what it's like to be invisible." Keanu Reeves. "You're not invisible, you're hurting, but hurting others won't fix that." The biker's eyes flicked to the homeless man and his dog. The man still trembled, but now he was staring at Keanu, like a lifeline had been thrown his way. Keanu Reeves. "And if that dog, who has nothing, can still protect someone with loyalty, then what's your excuse?" The biker stepped forward suddenly, invading Keanu's space. The tension surged. The crowd gasped. "Biker, You don't get to stand here and pretend you're some kind of hero. You don't know what I've lost. Keanu Reeves. Then talk to someone. Fight the battles that matter. Not a man with nothing and a dog who can't fight back. For a moment, silence held the parking lot hostage. Keanu's words were no longer just for the biker. They were for everyone watching. Those who'd stayed silent, those who'd looked away. The entire crowd leaned in, caught in the gravity of what was unfolding. The biker's expression twisted, torn between anger and something deeper. Guilt, maybe. His lips curled into a snarl as he looked one last time at the dog. Then, with sudden fury, he reached down and grabbed a bottle half hidden by the curb. His knuckles went white around the glass. Biker. Maybe I'll teach you both a lesson. The crowd froze, but Keanu didn't move. Not an inch. He stared into the biker's eyes with unwavering calm, and he waited, because he knew. The moment of truth had arrived. The biker stood there gripping the bottle like a lifeline to what little control he had left. His chest rose and fell with sharp breaths. His eyes, darting, desperate, searched the crowd for someone who might still be on his side. But no one was. All he saw were cameras, stares, judgment, and one man, still calm, still unmoving, standing like a mirror to his rage. Keanu Reeves, this doesn't end how you think it will. The biker raised the bottle an inch higher, his hand trembling now. The weight of the moment crushed down on him. He wasn't the intimidator anymore. He was exposed. A bully with no applause. A sharp sound cut through the tension. The dog barked, loud, piercing, defiant. Everyone flinched. The biker turned, startled. But the dog didn't move. It stood, small but unafraid, positioning itself once again in front of its owner. Keanu's voice followed the bark, low but commanding. Keanu Reeves. Even that dog knows when enough is enough, and Russell came from behind the crowd. A figure in a faded security uniform pushed through, older but with presence. He stepped between two cars and pointed at the biker. Security guard. Drop it. Now. The biker turned, bottle still raised. Biker, you gonna stop me too? The guard didn't blink. Security guard. You're drunk. You're threatening people. You're done. For a second it seemed like the biker would lash out, but then he looked again, at the cameras, the people, the man who never raised his voice, never raised a hand, and still shattered his grip on power. His arm dropped. The bottle clinked against the pavement. Keanu Reeves. It's not too late to walk away with your dignity, but if you keep going, you lose that too. The biker stood still. Then, without a word, he turned, stomped to his motorcycle and fired up the engine. As he pulled out of the lot, he looked back once. What he saw wasn't fear, it was silence, and the quiet victory of a man and a dog who refused to be broken. The roar of the motorcycle faded into the distance, swallowed by the stillness that had settled over the parking lot. No one said a word for several seconds. No one had to. The energy had changed. The tension was gone. What remained was awe. Keanu turned back toward the homeless man, who still sat huddled beside his dog, his arms wrapped tightly around the one soul who'd never abandoned him. The man looked up, eyes shining, unsure whether to speak or cry. Keanu knelt down beside them, not like a celebrity descending, but like a human being showing up where it mattered most. Keanu Reeves, are you okay? The man nodded slowly. Homeless. Man, I didn't know what to do. I just held on to him. Keanu placed a hand gently on the dog's head. The animal didn't flinch, just looked up at him, sensing something safe, something good. From his pocket, Keanu pulled out a small card. It was a contact for a local veterinary clinic. He also scribbled something on the back. Keanu Reeves. Take him here. They'll help. No charge. And there's an address on the back. It's a place that helps people too, if you want it. The man took the card like it was made of gold. Homeless man, thank you. Thank you. I don't know how to repay you, Keanu Reeves. You just did, by protecting him. That matters more than you think. Around them, the crowd began to stir. People were no longer just recording, they were approaching. One person brought a blanket, another offered food. Someone even slipped a folded bill into the man's hand. Keanu Reeves. He was the one who stood his ground. I just made sure someone noticed. As Keanu stood and walked toward the far end of the lot, people parted like water. Not because of his fame, but because of his grace. Justice had been served. Not with force, but with presence. And the man who once sat invisible was invisible no more. As Keanu disappeared into the flow of the parking lot, the echoes of what had happened lingered like smoke after a fire. People stood in quiet reflection, replaying the scene they had just witnessed. Not a Hollywood script, but real life. Something deeper, something human. The man and his dog remained seated, but the posture had changed. He no longer curled inward. The dog rested more easily, sensing the danger had passed. For the first time in what felt like forever, the man lifted his head and met the gaze of those around him. No shame, no apology, just dignity, and all of it, every bit, because one person had chosen to stand when no one else would. Narrator. Sometimes we're not asked to be heroes. We're just asked to be present, to speak when silence becomes cruelty, to act when hesitation becomes consent. Keanu never raised his voice. He didn't throw a punch. He didn't need to, because real strength doesn't come from force. It comes from stillness, from the courage to say, enough. And while the world may know him as an actor, today he was something far more rare, a reminder that kindness is power, that dignity is worth defending, and that even the smallest bark from a frightened dog can break the loudest cruelty. As the man clutched the vet card to his chest, people walked away a little slower, their minds heavier, their hearts fuller. Maybe they'd seen a man defend the defenseless, but maybe they'd also seen a bit of themselves, who they could be, who they should be. Because the truth is simple. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can be is human. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because sometimes one sentence can change everything.